Hello and welcome to CyberCon, a CNBC-TV18 special broadcast on rising cases of cybercrime in India. I'm Santia. India is home to around 250 million online shoppers, so the rise in customs scam is not surprising. In this case, fraudsters try to either sow the seeds of fear or greed. Two usual instances in such scams is when a fraudster calls a possible victim offering him or her item or items for free provided they pay for custom duty. Another type of custom fraud is when a person posing as customs officer informs the victim that a parcel containing illegal item has been confiscated and that they will be penalized if the victim didn't pay up. And what follows after is series of links and OTPs and messages which lead to victims losing millions. The authorities are well aware of such scams and had also issued advisories asking people to be cautious about such calls. According to National Crime Records Bureau, in 2021, close to 53,000 cybercrime cases have been filed, of which over 11,400 cases related to impersonation. Today, we discuss the menace of customs scam and do's and don'ts while dealing with people online. Before that, we head to Archana Solanki, who will shed light on this fraud and on how a popular delivery company hit the limelight due to this scam.
Well, thank you for that. Earlier this year, CNBC-TV18 investigated the dark world of the FedEx scam. In this scam, fraudsters posed as FedEx employees making fake calls to people claiming that a courier containing drugs, illegal documents, explosives or fake passports in their name has been found at an airport or in a foreign country. The fake FedEx employee then transfers the call to a fake customs officer, a cop or even a CBI officer on a video call who's dressed in a uniform to make the situation more believable. The fake cop then asks the victim how they want to settle the case, pay up or face court. Unfortunately, in most cases, people in a state of panic transfer money. Many have lost their savings worth crores of rupees. Most of these cases were reported from cities like Bengaluru, Chennai, Pune, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Vizag and parts of Kerala. In May this year, a woman in Bengaluru was even forced to strip on camera and made to transfer 15 lakh rupees. We spoke to several police officers across Bengaluru, Mumbai, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh and found that most victims are either women or senior citizens. Our investigation also revealed a Cambodia link. Now, most masterminds operate from countries like Cambodia, Vietnam, China, Thailand, Dubai, Hong Kong and Myanmar. They hire innocent people, take them to Cambodia or these countries for data entry jobs, but instead force them into becoming scam callers. Police officials say that it's very difficult to trace the real culprits as they operate through mule accounts. According to sources, thousands of crores have been siphoned off in the last 2-3 years. The biggest weapon for these scamsters is your anxiety. They prey on it, threatening people with the names of police, CBI, legal tussles. They are well-trained, well-spoken and sound very professional. In August this year, the government confirmed that around 1,600 Indians were repatriated from Myanmar, Cambodia and Laos. All of them had been recruited from India and traveled to work on tourist visas only to get caught up in cyber fraud activities. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Archana. Joining us today to discuss custom fraud menace is Principal Secretary to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Brijesh Singh. We also have Akshat Khetan, founder of AU Corporate Advisory and Legal Services with us. Mr. Singh, I would like to start with you, sir. First, if you can help us understand and explain that how our viewers, how people can differentiate between a genuine query from, let's say, a customs officer or, let's say, a courier company and a possible scam. So.
First of all, there are many red flags. Like if you haven't ordered something, why are you receiving a call? And generally, if you have ordered something, then there's a system of tracking your parcel and it's available on an app. So these are generally fictitious calls about certain packages which you have not ordered, or they create a sense of urgency by saying that your parcel is containing illegal items or that you haven't paid custom duties or it has been, detained for money laundering and things like that. And then these fraudsters generally pass it on to somebody who's impersonating a government official. So what is done is that an atmosphere of fear and urgency is created, which immediately leads to demand of money. So Santia, this is something which people should be aware of, that first of all, government would never contact you on WhatsApp or on all these unofficial channels, and no demand for money would ever be made. Santia?
So very important point there. So another thing, as we were discussing earlier, once a person realizes that he or she has been scammed, what should be the next step? Throughout this week and even before this, we have been talking about how people should call 1930. So if you can elaborate and add your perspective to that side, why the golden hour is important.
First of all, it's very important to note down all the details about these fraudsters, because these people are using common infrastructure. So if there's one fraudster, he's making multiple robocalls. And if this is identified in time, then if you call 1930, first of all, flight of money can be stopped. And also TRAI can get into picture by stopping and telling the telecom operators to stop these calls from these particular numbers. They can be also blocked. There's also an app by TRAI, DND app, which helps you report these calls. So please install TRAI DND3 app, which would help you record, and also inform TRAI about such suspicious phone calls. But if you are a victim or somebody has attempted to defraud you like this, note down everything. Note down the number from which the call came, if there's an email, if there's a logo which has been impersonated, if a particular UPI ID or bank account has been given. Note down all these things, screenshot. If there's an email, save it with headers. This all would become evidence when investigation takes place. It also helps authorities to stop this criminal infrastructure from defrauding other people. Santia?
Right, and absolutely, because this evidence is also going to help law enforcement agencies to fast track their investigation. Mr. Khetan, I would like to come to you. You have started offering legal services to cyber fraud victims. So when you start a procedure, what is the biggest or one roadblock you would like to talk about which you face while providing these legal remedies?
So there are two aspects to the roadblocks that we basically face. One is the victim or the person with whom the fraud has occurred or any kind of bullying has occurred, recalling and giving us the absolute correct information of the sequence of event in which it has occurred. And even before that, the bigger and larger issue is the element of fear in the victim in giving such information, because they feel that once they give that information, they will be so susceptible to issues arising other than such as their reputation loss, such as how they will face the society, such as what procedure they will have to undergo. But it is not like that. We have a very unified mechanism whereby there are systems, procedures in place through which we can help victims facing these problems.
Right. Social stigma is actually an important factor here. We're also being joined by Mr. Jain, Director at Voyager Infosec. Mr. Jain, thank you for joining us. What I want to know from you is, if I talk about Maharashtra, from January 2024 till November 2024, the amount of the fraud which has been reported is around 3,600 crore rupees. That's how big the amount is, but recovery is only slightly over 350 crores. So why the recovery rate is so minuscule?
Sanita, there are two things. A, if you go to multiple conferences where many of the central government agencies are reporting a total cyber fraud in a country to a volume of 2,500 crores in a year. And here, state itself is alone reporting more than 3,000 crores. So there is obviously an underreporting of crime across several agencies, across several states. And whatever is reported even in Maharashtra, one could safely assume the total amount of actual crime would be at least 10 times higher than this. Now, when it comes to the recovery of amount, there are three challenges. A, obviously, despite of this entire money flowing in the conventional banking ecosystem from one account to another, by the time you freeze the accounts or you try to get the money, money is already cashed out. Then it is converted into cryptocurrencies taken out of India. So using different channels of money laundering, the money is lost. So recovering a money which is once gone from your account, despite of all the mechanisms of freezing the accounts or level 2, level 3 freezing, doing all sort of forensic investigations, the chances of recovery are remote. And that is why you find even though 5 or 10% recovery which has happened, there is a great credit to the police officers who have been successfully able to do it. So the only cure of this entire problem is the stringent KYC in the biometric, banking and telecom ecosystem using a biometric-enabled KYC. Two, not allowing app-based, accounts to be registered within the first 24 hours of activation of a SIM. So one should not be able to create an email account or a WhatsApp account or a different account. And we have written the same to RBI also, that do not allow any OTP to come on a new mobile number for the first 24 hours. That will solve a multitude of problems of fake, WhatsApp running the calls or fake email ID sending the phishing emails. Now, second could be once you deploy AI to suspect the fraudulent transactions. I mean, how can you say that a Jan Dhan account which has had a total saving of 50,000 rupees in 10 years suddenly has an inflow of 50 lakhs, 60 lakh rupees, and the money is cashed out to the quantum of 30, 40 lakhs. So this is where I think the technology should be deployed instead of sending you a confirmation call of 5,000 rupees Khetan transaction to the wealthy people. So I think the AI has to be more democratized. The technology has to be deployed to protect the savings of even poor people, not only to worry about the savings of rich people who are spending on credit cards. So I think the prevention is the only cure here in this problem.
It definitely is. But Mr. Jain, you spoke about the KYC part. Now, KYC unfortunately has become a double-edged sword because the information which is provided by the citizens, whether it's to their banks or to their telephone service provider or to other service providers, that is also being, it's getting leaked, and that is also being used against them only. So how do we tackle that?
So I think we as a society have been, less careful about, putting our personal mobile numbers on every restaurant, banks, or shopping malls you go. We happily give our email IDs and mobile numbers without asking any purpose. We have a habit of making photocopies of all ID cards and giving them without writing the purpose on the paper, or and ensuring that it is not used for any other purpose. We randomly give our photocopy of Aadhaar cards to any private stores to get random stuff. We also have a habit of sending digital copies. So I think the best way here to save or protect yourself from the identity theft would be to use the biometric enabled KYC, where a virtual Aadhaar ID is used and you don't have to give any other information. So like I bought a SIM card yesterday, I just gave my virtual ID and they took my biometric. So technically that entire KYC detail is available with the UIDI. It is not given to the telecom service provider, or the very basic KYC is given, but it does not give a mechanism to a local employee in a store to copy my details. So problem is not by giving your details to a company. Problem is with the employees who try and leak those details. So I think the biometric enabled KYC is the best method available today. And fortunately, India is blessed with a very robust mechanism to do such a biometric enabled KYC transaction in terms of Aadhaar. And we must make full use of it.
Right, that India is. But I think one thing which the service providers can also do, you spoke about restaurants and how at shopping malls also people just ask for your phone number, your birthday and your email ID. Do you think that now it should be made a norm that these people will have to tell the customers proactively that this is optional? If you don't want to give, you don't have to, because what happens at present is if you tell them I don't want to share my details, then they say it's okay, but that does not happen proactively. Do you think that will help?
No, that would eventually happen with the notification of the new rules in the Data Protection Act. So because all these people are putting those details in a software which will be covered under Data Protection Act, because they're not putting it in a register. Second, there are many malls. You go and ask them for a bill. They say, "Nahi sir, WhatsApp pe aa jayega." And you say that, "I don't have a mobile number." "Nahi sir, wo to aapko dena padega, kisi aur ka de do, otherwise will not be able to generate a digital bill." Now, what should not happen should also be provided in the law. You must provide that a refusal to provide your personal email ID and mobile number should not result in the deficiency of service or denial of service. Right. That should also be, and the person who does that should be penalized. So that this sharing of your personal details should be for your comfort and should be optional. It should not be mandatory and the cost of your privacy.
Absolutely, it should be completely optional. It's time for a short break now. We continue the discussion on the other side. Welcome back to special broadcast on rising cases of cyber crime in India. Brijesh Singh, Akshat Khetan and Jiten Jain continue to remain with us to discuss the menace of customs fraud. Mr. Singh, I would like to come to you again. What I want to talk to you about is, till now, a lot of onus is actually on the citizens to keep themselves safe. We understand the importance of awareness, hence this campaign, but what I want to understand is, what can law enforcement agencies do in order to protect people from these scams the way they do for physical physical crime, which I understand is easier and has a very different set of challenges. But what can law enforcement agencies do for cyber crime?
So if you look at, the Union Home Ministry, it has established I4C, which is a cyber coordination center. There's a helpline 1930 for immediate reporting. There are various awareness drives. So there are social media campaigns like Cyber Dost, which are run by Union Home Ministry. In fact, Maharashtra is a state which has heavily invested in cybercrime reporting and investigation infrastructure. Recently, we inaugurated a huge cyber center in Mumbai. We have invested in the capacity building of our officers. We have invested in forensic tools and technologies. And apart from that, feedback from investigation is given to banks, to various agencies, so that modi operandi of these criminals is understood and proper measures can be taken to prevent such crimes from happening. Apart from that, interagency coordination between different state police is improving. However, one thing remains is that, cross-border or wherever there is international collaboration, that is an Achilles heel that remains to be solved.
Right. I wanted to talk to you about that also. We spoke about how, we all know that how we have an Interpol, we have other agencies when it comes to, let's say, terrorism or other crimes which affect everyone equally across the world. We have, whether it's the treaty part or the section, act part or sections part and various other things, we have something to take care of that, and we have something dedicated to each and every aspect of those crimes. For now, what is lacking is something similar for cyber crime. So what can global law enforcement agencies and global governments globally can do, sir?
You'll be very happy to know that there's a UN Convention on Cybercrime that is coming. So the Ad Hoc Committee of United Nations has submitted a draft already, and you would soon have a UN Convention on Cybercrime, and that I think is going to solve things. Because by various estimates, the size of the cybercrime economy is now hitting almost $9 to $10 trillion, which is almost thrice the size of Indian GDP. So this is the global menace which we are facing, and the world has to collectively sit together and solve this, especially through a UN convention. Santia?
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Jain, I would like to come to you now. What I want to understand is, because you have been, dealing with multiple kind of cyber crimes, when it comes to custom fraud or a parcel fraud, what is the kind of what kind of victims these scamsters are targeting? Is there a specific age group? If there is a specific, time of the day, time of the year, or month or week, is there a pattern? Is there a method to this madness?
Ultimately, see, these people are trying to prey on your fear and manipulate your psyche by imposing authority to deceive even the most educated. I mean, they're trying to exploit fear. That if you're caught with drugs, police will come and arrest, there'll be reputation damage, reputation harm. You'll be languishing in jail for many, many years. And then they'll tell you stories of these Bollywood star kids who were picked up for drugs. But ultimately, behind everything is a ploy to manipulate human psychology to make you believe that you've actually ordered a parcel and there are drugs or some illegal contents in it. Now, there is no fixed pattern. One could say that, on the times of festivals, people order more, so you are more likely to get those random calls. But with what we have seen, these people do not wait for festivals. It's a 24 hours, 365 days a year industry where they call you random odd hours, where you are likely to be alone, not in office, where you are less likely to seek help from your family or colleagues, when you are more likely to be alone. So that when you are scared, they put you on digital arrest, nobody knows, and you comply with the instruction and transfer money. Now, the only way to avoid this, I think, which Union Home Ministry has already issued directives that very soon, with the help of Telecom Ministry, all the promotional calls or customer service calls generating from these companies will be originating from different numbers, from 4031. There'll be different series. So customer service calls will come from one particular series, promotional marketing calls will come from particular series, and there will be very stringent KYC on those series. So if you're getting any random call from a personal mobile number or random looking number claiming to be from anything, just disconnect that call. So I think that would change a lot because when more people are aware that only particular numbers starting from particular digits are to be believed as genuine calls from banks or customer care, automatically others calls will start getting disconnected.
Right.
Second, you also have to see that there was a very interesting story about recently I read about a bank manager who was who got a call from a senior citizen that they wanted to withdraw their PF money immediately and transfer it to a particular account. Now that young manager got very suspicious that a senior citizen is withdrawing entire lifetime savings, and he asked them, why do you need, and he carried out stringent other checks, and he figured out that gentleman had got this customer arrest call, digital arrest call, and he saved that money. I think so. Bank managers, when they are transferring money, especially for senior citizens, should also need to be sensitized because they are one, safety net where money could be eventually be saved, even when the person has fallen for the trap. Second, I think somewhere you have to realize that this money is not being pickpocketed. It is not being looted on the broad daylight in a day street. It's not a cash robbery. Money is flowing through conventional banking channels. And we are still not able to solve that problem. So if we are able to solve the problem of cash withdrawal with stringent KYC, if we are able to solve problem, and Dr. Brijesh was here, who would know very well. I mean, you could use AI and predictive intelligence for this very easily. That a person who has never withdrawn 5,000 rupees in his entire lifetime today is out there on the bank withdrawing 40 lakhs. I mean, obviously there is no patch for human stupidity, but technology can come to it and track the transaction for multiple peer review in the banks.
Absolutely. Mr. Khetan, I would like to come to you for a quick message. What is that one thing you would like to convey to our viewers?
So all viewers and all citizens of the country have to be diligent. In the age of technology, one thing one must understand that no one can sell lies. And hence it is very important to be prudent, proactive, store all the information, sequence of events whenever any suspicion is clicking or tickling in their subliminal mind, and don't hesitate to report.
Right, that's very important. Do not hesitate to report. Dr. Singh, one last comment from you.
Do not pay. First of all, do not pay, delay, ask them to verify, ask them for their verification, ask them to call back.
That's interesting. Ask them to call back. Do not pay. No matter what, do not provide any personal detail. Do not follow the instructions of such people. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining us. With this, that's a wrap on this edition of CyberCon. More news and update on the other side.